What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live stream. I am your host, James Grande, joined by my friend, my colleague, my pal, Keith Eister. Keith, happy Thursday. What's going on, dude?
Happy Thursday. I was tilting my face off a little bit pre-show, watching my Cubs just not be able to score runs anymore. It's so frustrating. Second and third, nobody out, down one in the eighth, and can't push a run across. But that's all right. We got better stuff to talk about here tonight. We had a good slate in front of us.
Yeah, some people would say better stuff. Some people wouldn't. Would you rather be the Cubs or the Washington Nationals?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a fair point.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We do have the Nationals on tonight's 5-game slate.
Indeed.
We do have the Colorado Rockies on tonight's slate.
Indeed, at home.
At home. We do have Coors and we do have Tarek Skubal. So a lot of decisions to be made tonight on the 5-game main slate. I know FanDuel is like, no, actually FanDuel had its all-day slate like always, but just 5 games on the docket for today. There is some weather going on. Detroit, Minnesota, there's some weather. We'll see if Roth upgrades it, but it is orange-yellow currently. He's even saying there's some postponement risk in that one. So that's the one concern. And then there's a few like possible scenarios where the Washington game is delayed. You know, we'll always have that infamous non-rain rainout in Washington like 5 years ago or whatever it is now. It feels like it was yesterday, but I know it was like it had to be like 4 years ago by now, right? Where it just never rained. And
yep. I know exactly the game that you're talking about. Us DFS players remember it well.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago at this point. Yep.
Yeah, it just feels like it was forever. Like it feels like yesterday, but I know I bring it up every year, and every time there's rain in the Washington forecast, like you're just brought back to it's scary. But there is, a little chance of rain there. Same in New York with the Mets, Braves, and Colorado as well, but nothing that should impact us outside of that Detroit-Minnesota game. And speaking of the Detroit-Minnesota game, that's important because, we'll head into the breakdown of the slate now. For those just joining, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We go live Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We also do a pre-show the night prior, so you can catch our initial thoughts on every slate as well. At pitching, we have Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal is not a human being. He is an alien, and we've come to accept that fact. This alien is also 11-9. Right? On a slate where Coors Field exists and a slate that one of the teams in Coors Field has over 7 implied runs in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that being said, we'll just start on Skubal because last night on the pre-show, John and I basically you don't need a reason to play Tarek Skubal. You can play Tarek Skubal whenever you want, and he might get you 40 fantasy points because that's who Tarek Skubal is. Full stop. Just full stop. But he's 11-9. That is very expensive. He's $3,000 more than the next highest priced pitcher. There is rain. There is Coors. The ownership, as you'd guess, is on Tarek Skubal. He's not the highest rostered projected pitcher of the day, but he is over 30% in large field tournaments. Are you with the field, above the field, or under the field on 11-9 Tarek Skubal today, Keith?
So that depends on the weather. Not entirely, though. I'll just break it down without the weather. We'll get into the weather in a little bit. Hopefully, if some more information comes out as we're on the show, because obviously you cannot afford a 5-inning start from a nearly 12K starter unless he goes out and strikes out 12 in 5 innings, which you can't put that past him. But I don't think that's the likeliest outcome. And when you're paying a premium for it, you need the full 7-inning double-digit strikeout performance for him to pay it off. So the rain is a concern, but we'll table that for now and just talk about Tarek Skubal, the best pitcher in the world, because that's who he is.
Yes.
Among qualified starters, the best strikeout rate in baseball, the best walk rate in baseball. Like It's pretty clear he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Yes.
A little bit of a rough time his last time out against the Angels. He gave up 2 home runs, which he never does. The Angels that's what they do. They swing all out. They try to hit home runs. They touched him up. I'm not concerned about that at all. It is the price and the context of the slate that has me a little bit more trepid in my just willingness to go all in on Tariq Skubal. For one, there's 2 really strong high upside starting pitchers, $3,000 cheaper than him that we're going to talk about. So I don't think I would try to go over the field, even if the weather is all clear by the time the first pitch rolls around here, because of that upside. And one guy in particular, I think, is way under-owned for what he has been this season, and after he smashed his last time out as well. A guy that I've been playing a ton this year to great success. So no doubt about it, Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. On this slate, because we have Coors to pay for, I don't think I'm going overweight on him, regardless of what the weather says. Now, if the weather is dicey at all and the field just jumps off it entirely, as a tournament player, there's a different thing to consider there. Like, what if the delay doesn't come and nobody plays Tariq Skubal?
Yes.
So there's a lot of moving parts here to where I end up on Tariq Skubal. But overall, without weather, I would say I think you can find similar upside for $3,000 cheaper on this slate. Not the same upside. He no doubt has the most upside, but there are 2 really strong options here on the slate.
Yeah, he is the upside. He is the upside, right? Like, that is what upside looks like when Tariq Skubal is in his bag. Well, let's talk about it, because I think the pitcher you're alluding to is the pitcher that everyone's going to, and that's Jesus Luzardo, would be my guess. Or am I wrong? Is it Edward Cabrera, who's coming off his best start of the year?
Edward Cabrera is the guy coming off the best start of his best start of the year. Luzardo is the guy that is going to get the ownership, I think.
Yes.
Which makes
it is number one. Number one in ownership currently is Jesus Luzardo.
And it makes perfect sense. When you look at this Nationals lineup, there are strikeouts galore against left-handed pitching.
Yes.
And Luzardo hasn't been a massive strikeout pitcher this season. He has been in the past in his career, but this season he's been a little inconsistent. I still think that he's too cheap for the matchup, just because of what the Nationals roll out there. Just their collective strikeout rate is over 28% as a team, striking out against lefties. You've got Dylan Cruz, who strikes out 35%, Paul DeYoung, 36%, Riley Adams, 40%, Dalen Lyle, 30%, Brady House, 34%. Like, those are extremely high strikeout numbers from, what was that, 5 or 6 hitters in this Nationals lineup.
Yep.
So while Luzardo has not been an elite strikeout pitcher this season, this is an elite strikeout matchup. I think he should be $1,000 more for this matchup. So I cannot argue with the ownership.
So is he the guy that you were talking about the pivot to, or no?
I think Edward Cabrera is the guy that is going to see way too low of ownership if weather is clear for Tariq Skubal. He has been just as good as Jesus Luzardo this season. 11 strikeouts his last time out against Atlanta. And I think the matchup against Cleveland is sneaky good as well. They've been striking out a lot more than they have in years past, for sure. Their current iteration of their lineup, with a couple young guys in there like Gabriel Arias, CJ Kafis has struck out a bunch since he came up. David Fry is back now. So, yeah, you still have Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez, who just don't strike out at all. Yep. But once you get to the middle and bottom of that order, there are a lot of strikeouts here. And Edward Cabrera has just taken a massive leap forward this year. The improvement to his walk rate has just allowed him to work deeper into games. He's always had the strikeout stuff. He's in the midst of a full-on breakout.
Yeah, and this is the reason why they were asking for an arm and a leg at the deadline for him. And nobody would go there, but the Marlins were okay with that. It's like, okay, yes, we will keep this mid-20s starter that is in ace caliber territory right now. So I completely agree. The ownership is criminal on him. He is the 5th highest projected rostered pitcher of the day, behind Luzardo and Skubal, as we mentioned, and we'll get to the 2 others here in a second. Well, I'll just briefly ask, in or out on Kodai Senga?
I'm at DraftKings with that price. I'm out. He just has not thrown enough strikes.
Yes.
On FanDuel, it's a different conversation because both Skubal and Luzardo are priced up, and Senga is quite cheap over there. He's under 9K, I believe. But on DraftKings, I don't think we need it. I'd play the top three around him 10 times out of 10 over him.
Agreed. 100. Nothing else to really add. Not throwing enough strikes. The two guys getting more ownership than Edward Cabrera today are found in the 7K range. Tanner Bybee, Bailey Ober. Thoughts on those two mid pitchers?
Mid is a great word, because on a different slate, if they were getting this type of ownership, I would say run far, far away. But if you look at the other options that we have to deal with on this slate, it's hard to make an argument that these aren't the next two best pitchers. I think the three that we've talked about are so far ahead of these two guys that I would hardly consider them unless I absolutely needed a Skubal Arizona lineup. I think that's the only situation, but that's how everybody's going to play them. So Correct. Then I get into the point where I don't want to touch these guys on this slate. Bybee just hasn't been the same guy. The matchup against Miami is not near as good as people might think it is.
No, it's terrible. No, it's
above average offense against right-handed pitching. Bad. And they don't strike out at all. And Bybee hasn't struck anyone out at all this season. So you see the name and you see the price, and you might think the matchup is good, but I don't think the matchup is that good. And Bybee is not the same pitcher that his name value might suggest. If this was last year's Tanner Bybee, maybe we had something to talk about. And all of that context still, it basically applies to Bailey Ober as well. His strikeout rate is all the way down to 18% this season after being an above average strikeout guy the last couple of years. I don't feel great about either one of these guys. But the problem is, if you're looking for something cheap, there isn't really another option down there. There's a name that I think is somewhat interesting. I'd rather stack against him personally, or at least hunt power against him, but I don't feel confident whatsoever in Bybee or Ober.
Yeah, I think what you said is pretty accurate, that if you are looking to get to Skubal, you kind of and play Arizona like Coors, you do need one of those pitchers to pair with Skubal. But man, it's not a comfortable roster. It's not a comfortable roster at all. Who's the pitcher you're alluding to?
So it's not comfortable at all, but the context of what we're dealing with here and how I think, it wouldn't surprise me if Bybee and Ober don't crack 10 DK points. So I think the bar is pretty low here to clear. The name I'm going to throw out is Brad Lord, and no, it's not comfortable. Philly is a great offense.
Oh, Lord.
But he does have some skills. He has a great walk rate and a great ground ball rate against right-handed batters. Now, Philly, of course, has those two monstrous lefties in Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, who are also two of my favorite hitters on the slate.
Yep.
So this is a very risky proposition, but only because of the context of the slate and the fact that Bybee and Ober are going to garner the ownership. I think possibly Brad Lord could match them or even beat them. And then you move so far ahead of the field. And I would not do this in anything single entry, 3-entry max. It'd have to be 20 lineups before I would consider playing this guy. But on this slate, I think it's viable.
You got to be praying to the big man upstairs on this one, right? I mean,
yeah, to be clear, Philly, I think, is one of the best offenses on the slate. But yeah. I also think there's a world where Brad Lord could survive 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, give up a run or two. Maybe he gives up a solo homer to Schwarber, and that's all he allows. I think you could get away with that if Bybee and Ober don't do what many are expecting them to do.
I don't disagree, honestly. I was looking at some Brad Lord stuff earlier, where are the cracks? I was looking for cracks in the numbers, and none of the batted ball stuff suggests anything bad luck oriented. Not even since he's converted to a starter. He's been as good as a starter as he was as a reliever, which sometimes you can see regression from relief pitchers when they go from starters when they go from relief to the rotation, and that hasn't happened either. So it is he has been a pretty good pitcher, especially over the last few games, and the strikeouts have been okay as a starter too. They followed. They're lagging a little bit behind, but they've been definitely decent. I agree. He's been a better, as crazy as it sounds, it's a tougher matchup, but he's been a better pitcher than both Tanner Bybee and Bailey Ober this year. Bailey Ober has been horrible in the home run department. And Tanner Bybee is just has been a little bit unlucky when you look at some of the peripheral stuff, but it's just not translating to results.
Yeah, 2 home runs per 9 for Bailey Ober. That's terrifying.
Yes.
The Tigers, I know they've slumped a little bit recently, but I mean, all season long they've been a well above average offense.
Yes.
And the strikeouts are down for both of them. So while Lord isn't a strikeout pitcher by any means, he's still been right in that same, like Ober's at 18.2%. Lord is higher than that in his last 4 starts. I did that exact same exercise where it's like, okay, but what has he actually done as a starter? Well, his last 4 outings have come from the rotation, and he has it's what really got me on him is the 60+% ground ball rate to right-handed batters and like a 5% walk rate. So then he just needs to navigate the lefties. He uses those skills against the righties. If he can avoid the lefty power in Schwarber and Harper, I think he has a decent chance to make it through 5, mostly unscathed.
I agree. Let's hop into the comments and we'll move on to catcher. No Warming, Bernabel, Mega Chalk, Locklear. Absolutely. Poe Degen's high as heck, as always. Checking in from the mountainous region. Shout out John Denver out there. Justin, I see through you. Hollis in the chat. Washington's lineup is not good. No, it's not good. And it's not good when Abrams and Garcia are in it either. They're still bad. Might actually be better with Paul DeJong in the lineup. How good he's been lately. Where is John? I think John is stuck at Starbucks or something like that. So he couldn't make it today's show. I don't know. He got locked in. I think the doors got locked from the outside. I don't know. It's weird times in 2025. I think he should be back tomorrow, but we'll see if he makes it out of Starbucks alive. The Lizard dude, any good? Yeah, I don't know. His name is Keith, not Lizard, but he's good. I'm just kidding. Lizardo's good. Great play. My Lanes, who used to be Keith Vape, and I know that because your dog is dope in that photo. What's up? Poe Degen likes Dylan Cruz 2 bases, and he took Lords for all the bats. I took Lords on FanDuel for all the bats.
It's way riskier on FanDuel because you need the win and the quality start really on FanDuel. Yes. So that might be a little too risky for my blood on FanDuel. I was talking strictly as a DK SP2.
Yeah, as SP2, because on FanDuel, you just simply play Skubal, Cabrera, Luzardo, and you move on, right? That's like you just play one of those.
And Luzardo is expensive over there, so I get not wanting to go there necessarily, but Cabrera is still cheap over there. So if you're trying to get away from Skubal, I think Cabrera would be the move there.
We have Starbuds. Of course, we turned Starbucks into a weed reference. Shout out to Poe Degen. Let's go to catcher. Hunter Goodman, Adrian Del Castillo, Augustin Ramirez is your 4K and up spend tier. We'll throw Fulford in there because he's in cores. What do you make of this top tier?
Yeah, I like the Rockies a ton. Eduardo Rodriguez got beat up by them his last time out. He walked 5, he gave up 5 runs, and Goodman is the Rockies' best hitter against left-handed pitchers. So Goodman, I think, is worth spending on. Another part of the reason, in addition to Arizona being awesome today, I like expensive Rockies too. So getting up to Skubal isn't all that easy, but like I said, we have those 2 8K pitchers that we can make it work. So I love Hunter Goodman today. Del Castillo hasn't hit a ton in the majors. He was pretty good in the minors, though. 4,200 for a guy that hasn't hit a ton is a tough ask. But, I mean, the Rockies starting pitcher has an 11% strikeout rate. So go wild. If you're an Arizona Diamondback in the lineup today, I'm playing you.
And an almost 80 ERA. Yes. And, just not – again, the Rockies just are using non-major league caliber starters. It just is what it is, right? I agree. If you're in the Arizona lineup, you're in play. Fulford 39, it's fine. Again, he's in the lineup, so it's a consideration. Baldwin, Dingler, Real Muto has been reverse splitsy for some time now. Who's, if anyone, your favorite value catchers? Because I have one that really stands out to me.
Those 3 in the high 3s, I think, Fulford, Baldwin, and Dingler, all 3 of them, I think, are really solid. I like Dingler a good amount there against Ober. He's actually given up more right-handed power this season than he has left-handed power. So if Ober is going to catch some ownership, I don't mind some Tigers against him.
I was doing the Jack Nicholson. Yes. Yeah, Dingler, the righty power has just given Bailey Ober fits. Lefties have done just fine against them as well. The one I'd throw in there as just an additional name is Liam Hicks, who you can also play at first base. Just because when you look at Bibee, it's been the lefties that have done all the damage this year. 196 ISO, 333 BOBA allowed. The 22% strikeout rate is higher than it is against righties, but Hicks is a 4-hitter, 2,900 catcher. I mean, that's pretty good. You can't really beat that, right? So
yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, Liam Hicks would probably be the only other name. Let's go to first. But before we do, we'll go to Ryan's comment. Took down to GPP last night. Really good ROI. A lot of credit is due to you guys. Thanks for all you do. Big salute to you, Ryan. Big salute to you. Congrats on the hit. Amazing to hear it. You are a constant in the chat. We appreciate the love and support. And happy to hear that you're winning money, because that's the end goal, right? It's always to win money and to help you guys win money. So good-ish, Ryan. Let's go. If I had a soundboard, I'd be like, bah, 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 but I'll just do it myself. First base, Pete Alonso, Bryce Harper, Matt Olson's your 5K tier. We all just throw Torque and Manzardo in there in the 4K tier. What do we like 4K and up, Keith?
Bryce Elder's been pretty awful this season, so certainly don't mind Pete Alonso. I've talked about Lord and being weaker against lefties. Bryce Harper is one of my favorite hitters on the entire slate, despite possibly rostering Lord in a couple of lineups today. Torkelson, in that same vein, with the right-handed power struggles of Ober, I think is a fantastic option as well. And Senga hasn't been able to throw a strike, so he has given up some power though as well. But I don't mind Olson. I think all of the top four are very playable. If I had to rank them, I'd probably go Harper, Alonso, Torkelson, Olson. But all four are very good.
I was starting to worry that the home run derby bug got to Olson too before he hit the home run the other day, but because everyone suffers from it once, immediately after the derby, nobody can hit anymore. And I was just starting to think Olson was oh no, the derby got him, but he finally homered yesterday, or 2 days ago, so we're all good there. Agreed on the rest. I love Edward Cabrera. Just have to shout out how good Manzardo's been from a power perspective lately. I know you had brought up some of the Cleveland bats that have been good, but he strikes out. I know he wasn't in your non-strikeout category, but he has been good from the left side. Tyler Locklear is going to get all the ownership. This is a player that was in the Eugenio Suarez trade. He was one of the key components of it. Was really good in the minor leagues from a power and speed standpoint. He was almost 20-20 in the minor leagues before getting called up. Is this the start of the breakout for Locklear? What say you? I mean, I know you said anything Arizona, but he is going to be more rostered than anyone by 2x the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a young guy, and occasionally this is a spot to avoid, right? When you have a popular young player who hasn't quite put it together, but his struggles have been strikeouts in the majors. Like you said, He was very good in the minors. It was 19 homers and 16 steals at AAA before getting traded for Eugenio Suarez, who was the best available bat at the trade deadline.
Yes.
He's a legitimate prospect with legitimate power, some speed. He's 3,600 facing a guy who strikes out 11% of batters he's faced this season. So I don't think strikeouts are going to be a problem today. He's in Coors Field. I have a really hard time disagreeing with the ownership. I think we've given plenty of ways to get different on this slate, and one of those potentially even includes Tariq Skubal and fading him. But Locklear is really tough to get away from, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the price in Coors does it all. And you mentioned 11% strikeout rate he's facing in Bradley Blaylock. So agreed on the Locklear play. Anything else worth mentioning at first?
You mentioned Hicks already at catcher. I like that. Kafis is another talented young hitter who's really cheaper than his talent level. Tough matchup against Cabrera, but at that price, I'd be fine taking some shots there.
Agreed. Kefis he was a top 50 prospect in baseball. I mean, the Guardians had 3 of them. One of them got hurt. They've only called up one of them, and they've gone on this crazy run. So I guess they knew what they were talking about. No, none of us did. Because I wanted what's his name? Who got hurt? DeLauder called up a month ago. He had like a 20-game hit streak. I was like, call this guy up. But Kefis gets the call, and he's been great. I agree. Cam the man mentioning Roth actually upgraded weather. So we have a weather upgrade. Thank you, Cam. Appreciate it. Some will debate if you're the man, but I won't, Cam. I won't. You are the man to me. Just kidding. And Podigen's talking about Josh Hamilton. I mean, shout out Josh Hamilton, I guess, for that home run derby he had in Yankee Stadium one time, way back when. Roth is talking about that this looks like this game is going to be dry. So next to 0 rain. Does that alter your perspective on Tarek Skubal? But like your breakdown was minus the rain. So like nothing really changes for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, that just solidifies that the chalk pitchers are going to be Skubal and Luzardo, and it's going to leave me free to play all the Edward Cabrera. That's my stance on it. I'm not going to be able to get overweight on Skubal because I want to play expensive bats and I want to play a ton of Edward Cabrera.
Yeah, the ownership from what I'm looking at hasn't changed, and we still have an hour until lock, or a little over an hour, right? 6:40. So it's still Luzardo, Skubal, Bybee as your top 3. Ober, Cabrera round out the top 5. So we'll see what happens when as we get closer to lock, now that game is seemingly going to play dry. If Skubal overthrows Luzardo, because we know how tournament players operate, right? They will, that ownership on Skubal is going to creep up now that Kevin Roth has put his he's anointed that game okay to play, right? He sprinkled his pixie dust on it. So
he removed the orange. If you're familiar with the RG forecast and how he does it, he had it orange yellow beginning of the day, and he removed the orange, which is basically risk of postponement. So he's basically saying it should play dry. There's still risk for in-game delay, but doesn't sound nearly as risky as it did earlier today.
Correct. Good description. I should have left the descriptions to you. Thank you for that. I threw you a bad pass and you still threw a dunk down, so thank you. Second base, Ketel Marte is here. Ketel Marte is really good. Ketel Marte is one of the best hitters in baseball in Coors Field, coming off a dramatic walk-off win. The Diamondbacks are rolling because Ketel Marte is rolling. Don't need to overthink this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best hitters in baseball at a weak second base position. So yeah, it's hard to get away from Marte.
Yeah, he's my, if I'm spending up on one player in Arizona, I have him over Corbin Carroll, but I'd say it's probably close, but I'd give the edge to Marte at a bad position. We talked to Bybee lefties. We talked the over righties. Glaber and Edwards make the player pool.
Yeah, I think they do, just because of those pitchers getting some ownership. They're both good offenses. I mentioned Miami has been above average against righties, so they're both in there just because it's a weaker position. I don't love the price on either of them, but that keeps their ownership low as well.
Yeah,
like a stack only type of play. It'd have to be a 3 or 4 team stack of that team.
Agreed. I'll just ask like this: what else is worth talking about at second base?
I think Stott is interesting. I don't like the Philly lineup. Makes it tough to stack lefties in that lineup outside of Schwarber and Harper. So I'm more power hunting with Philly against Lord than I am full stacking. I mentioned that good walk rate against righties too, which is really going to limit the rallies, I think, for Philly. Not that they can't hit a bunch of home runs and still beat him that way. So Stott's fine, but I don't love the lineup position or how he fits into a stack. You could wrap it around, I guess, but then you have to pay for an expensive Trey Turner too. Paul DeYoung is going against who's currently the chalkiest pitcher on the slate, and he has significant power against lefties. So if you want to chase a home run there, I don't hate that. Even in a lineup you're playing Luzardo on a 5-game slate, I don't hate trying to chase a solo home run. Wouldn't do that in single entry or anything, but I think it's viable.
Yeah, he's $3,100, second multi-position eligible. Like it's that makes total sense. If Luzardo throws 8 innings, 1 run, and Paul DeYoung's your home run, like feels pretty good both directions, and that's live. I think that's within the range of outcome.
Jeff McNeil's shown more power this season.
Like, yeah, it's fake. It's fake.
Yeah,
it's fake.
His StatCast looks really bad. I haven't looked at it.
If you look at the expected stuff, like he has a 189 expected ISO or 189 ISO, 133 expected ISO. He doesn't strike out.
And Bryce Elder stinks.
Elder stinks.
I mean, it's not crazy, but
he
more
does
of a stat guy for sure.
He does. When Bryce Elder is pitching well, nothing is in the air. That'd be my one concern with also, shout out PoDegen for the $2 super chat. Appreciate it. You do not have to do that. Hopefully I can send that forward to the Starbucks to get John to break out of whatever he is captured. Hopefully he makes it thanks to you, PoDegen. We really appreciate it. Again, you do not have to do that. It's an option, but you do not have to do that. We are going to hop on these airwaves and try to bring the fire regardless of your donations, but we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your kindness. Let's go to third. Third is another position where there is ownership that will be concentrated on, and it'll be concentrated. Jose Ramirez exists in the world. You could play Jose Ramirez in any situation, whether he's standing in the batter's box and there's like flaming hot baseballs being thrown at him, and like he has to dodge like a bow and arrow and expect him to like come out like Neo in the Matrix and still hit a double in the gap and then steal third. So you can play Jose Ramirez if you want. The whole field's going to play Blaze Alexander and Eric Carro's son. I'm assuming you're doing the same.
Yeah, another situation where we have young guys who are probably more talented than their price tag, and they're in fantastic situations. Yep. Blaze is buried in the 8-hole, so playing an 8-hitter who's that rostered is never something I love to do. But Arizona's in an all-time great spot today, in my opinion.
Yes,
it's a terrible starting pitcher. It's a terrible bullpen. It's one of the best hitting environments, the best hitting environment in baseball. It's hard to complain about 18-20% ownership, which is probably where he lands, but that's okay. And then Karros is even cheaper, a better lineup spot for him, probably just as much ownership from him as well. But I don't think Eduardo Rodriguez is all that scary. Like I said, Colorado got to him a little bit last start. It's this consecutive starts against the same team. I never liked that situation for the pitcher. So Colorado's a top 3 offense today.
That they are. And shout out to our generation now having kids of people that we grew up with playing baseball. I literally saw it last night. And I was like, Karros, like I know he's been playing, but he has to be that name is so unique. It has to be Eric Karros' son. And sure enough. Anything also on your Blaze point, at the very least hitting 8th, at least we know we're guaranteed a 9th inning at bat. So like situation where his lineup spot will come in, it's not the same for Colorado if they're leading, just to add a little bit more positivity there. Is there anything else at third that we even need to talk about?
I do like a couple cheap names still here. Ronnie Mauricio is another talented youngster in a good matchup against Elder. And then Graham Pauley is like dirt cheap against Bybee, and you mentioned Bybee's lefty troubles. So Pauley's also been pretty solid since he's been up. So, I mean, he's basically free. I don't hate it.
No, yeah, he's free. He's definitely free. $2,100. He is free. He is definitely a guy you roster if you're using Skubal, like the Skubal Luzardo or Skubal Cabrera pairing, just because you need salary, right? Like that. He's $2,100. It doesn't get much better than that. Shortstop, almost skipped shortstop, but here we are. Trey Turner, 5,700. Geraldo Perdomo continues to just be an absolute maniac every day in, day out. 5,600. Francisco Lindor, 55. How would you rank them? I'm assuming Geraldo Perdomo's 1, but how would you rank them?
He is, like the price tag feels awful for Geraldo Perdomo. Not a guy that has a ton of power. He does have some speed, but he's in Coors and he's facing a terrible pitching staff. So I can't disagree with it. He should be that price. He should be highly owned. He's going to be all of those things. He's the best option at shortstop today.
Bro, there's no doubting Geraldo Perdomo anymore. This season has been insane.
Yeah, he's been great.
He has 80. He's going to drive in 100 runs this year.
Yeah.
He's going to have 100 RBIs, Geraldo Perdomo. I just wanted to stop and just mention that.
That's what happens when you have Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll getting on base at.
Yeah, but dude, he's been hitting ninth. Though. He was hitting ninth for
that's true. For a long time, he was.
For a long time.
Yeah, he's been great. No doubt about it. I'd go Lindor second, just because I mentioned Lord does have some skills against righties. I think Turner is fine, but I prefer Lindor.
Okay. Yeah, Lindor woke up a little bit last night. He's been terrible for a month. Coincides with the Mets honestly being terrible. But yeah, he does look good in the spot against Elder. Ezekiel Tovar is just too cheap, right?
Yep.
Just plain and simple.
Has been great against lefties in his career. Was out for a while with that injury, which is why his price has been deflated. So yeah, too cheap in Coors.
Huh. These splits look interesting. It's almost like have we ever seen something like this? 1,000 OPS at home, 500 OPS on the road. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Just thought interesting. Nothing else?
Nope.
He's cheap enough. Tovar's $3,700. Like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Javi Baez I think is playable, but just play Tovar in Coors.
Yeah, home run off Ober. That's what you're looking for there. Outfield, we go Corby, Schwarby, Sodi. No, it didn't work as much. Corby and Schwarby worked though. Who do you got, Corby or Schwarby? Since the Sodi one didn't hit as well. Corby or Schwarby?
I think Schwarber homers today. I really do. Corbin Carroll is going to project better for sure. And he might hit a triple and 3 doubles. Yeah. Yeah, they're both fantastic. It's hard to make a decision there. Play him.
Play him. Yes, agreed. What stands out in the 5K tier?
Riley Green against Bailey Ober, I like quite a bit. He's struggled recently, but still 300 ISO against righties this season. Gurriel in Coors is fine. Don't love the price there.
Yeah, but price is disgusting.
Yeah, fantastic spot. Stowers has been incredible this year. Lefty power against Bybee. I'm in there. Another price that at first glance you might be taken aback, but you dive into the numbers a little bit, it starts to make a whole lot of sense.
He's incredible.
Yep.
That trade is turning out to be hell of a deal for both teams, and I did not think it was going to be that way.
Did not have Trevor Rogers coming back on the map in this kind of way. Good for him for what he's been able to do in Baltimore.
Right. Sub 4K, we have 5K rather. We have Kerry Bonds, Nimmo, Freeman, Beck, Profar, Kwan, Ozuna. What do we got here under 5K?
Yeah, I like Kerry Carpenter a ton. Over just the strikeouts are down, the power's way up, over 2 home runs per 9 this season. I mentioned the Coors guys are obviously fantastic. Beck has had more power than Freeman. Freeman's leading off, is in a great run scoring spot. But give me the power guy in that situation. And most times play them both in a stack, certainly. That's really Nimmo's fine, but not a guy I love to play. If you're stacking Mets, he's fine.
All right, I got to ask because they're the same price, okay? Alec Thomas is in Coors against a pitcher that is not a major league caliber pitcher. But Jacob Marcy exists in the world, and that dude is a freak. And, He was a key piece in the San Diego in a trade they made with Luis Arraez. He was the key member of the Arraez trade. And the power, I don't think is going to translate, but the speed and the batter's eye, he is an elite on base batter walk guy and an elite stolen base guy. It just bat control in general for Jacob Marcy. What's your take on like chalky Alec Thomas versus Jacob Marcy at the same price?
Yeah, I mean, Thomas was a great prospect in his own right too, but he has not hit, and
Yes.
we're going on like 3 years here of Alec Thomas not being able to hit major league pitching. Like he's out there for his defense. He's an outstanding center field defender, but he's not a great hitter. So I understand the context is as good as it can possibly get today, and that's why he's getting ownership. But I like the pivot to Marcy in this spot. We've talked about lefties against Bivey all show. I don't even hate Cedric Mullins in this spot either. I know he's been hot and cold this season, but Bryce Elder has had lefty power problems his whole career, even when he was much better than he's been this year.
Yep. I agree. I think Cedmo looks good moving up in the lineup from where he was last night as well. So good little run of $3,700 players. Brenton Doyle looks really good at $3,500. He's too cheap. He's also moved up in the lineup and has, for a season of that's kind of been lost for Brenton Doyle, still has really good numbers against lefties. It's at about a 200 ISO on the year. So love Brenton Doyle at 35 too. Is there anything else that stands out to you? Michael Harris keeps just absolutely demolishing baseballs. Brandon Marsh is hitting and moving up in the lineup. Welcome back, Dylan Cruz. You're hitting second. What do you make of this like lower value range in the outfield?
Yeah, Marsh is interesting with the move up the order because now you can kind of reach the stack to Harper Schwarber and include Marsh in that, and he hits from the left side. So I don't mind that little 3-man Philly stack against Lord. I like the Harris shout out as well. So Senga has had all kinds of control problems, can't get deep into a game, so might see the worst part of the Atlanta bullpen there, or the Mets bullpen rather.
Well, if you're banking on control problems to Michael Harris, don't, because he ain't walking.
He's going to fling it.
I'll tell you that. He is not walking. I'll tell you, he walked this game for the first time, or no, it was the Yankees game. He's actually walked 3 times since the break. He walked for the first time. It was like since June or May or something like that. It had been like 2 months for Michael Harris in between walks. So it ain't happening. Yeah. Just letting you know.
The most surprising thing I saw today in my research was Heriberto Hernandez's numbers against right-handed pitching this season.
Okay.
Was not even really he was like ranked 40th in the Marlins system before he came up.
Yep.
And all he's done is hit since he came up. 268 ISO, 421 WOBA against righties this year. So I don't know if it's real. He's been doing it for close to 100 plate appearances. I think it's 77 plate appearances against a righty. We might have to start taking that a little bit serious. He's cheap.
Yeah, 83 plate appearances is the official number. 247 ISO. I mean, okay, yeah. Dude. Sure.
I don't know if it's real, but it's worth a shot, I suppose.
224 expected ISO, still like elite. It's still an elite number. 224 ISO expected. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Troy Johnson's getting ownership. I don't know if we need to go there, but that's just literally someone saying, I need money to play Terrence Skubal.
I'd find the 700 for Kafis if I'm going down there and it has to be in the outfield. I think Paulie is a better pivot if you can do it at third base instead of in the outfield.
Agreed. Let's get a core. As Anthony says, will Luzardo screw it up and give up 6 runs? You know he loves giving up home runs.
He has been inconsistent this season, so it's certainly in the range of outcomes. But man, is it a great strikeout spot.
It looked like he had shaken all of that the first like month and a half of the year. Like it was like finally top prospect turned elite starter, 99 mile an hour sinker that nobody can hit. And then but also, there's been like 2 games that have really altered people's perception, I think, this year. He had the back-to-back games where he got absolutely demolished, and they left him out there to dry, right? Like eat up innings type scenario. And that changed the whole perception of his season. He's still been really good for
his peripherals are actually awesome. 363 xERA, 335 xFIP. So 420 ERA is a little bit misleading to your point there. He's actually been really good. He's been overshadowed because Philly's rotation is just awesome with what Christopher Sanchez has done this year and Zach Wheeler, what he does every year. He's been overshadowed and not talked about, but Luzardo is a very good starter.
Yeah, there's something missing here. Because this was the second of a bad start. So DraftKings is actually doing Luzardo a favor between this 525 and 6.5 date. Because this start right here, where that's supposed to be right in the middle, was like 12 earned runs or whatever it was. I forget who it was against. Maybe like, I don't know, someone. There was like 12 earned runs somewhere in there. So
it was DraftKings is doing a 3 1/3 inning start against Milwaukee. He gave up 12 earned. Yes, on May 3rd.
It was 12 earned, right?
May 31st,
yeah, 12 earned. Yes, literally, they are like blacking it out. Where they're like, nope, we don't want to remember this. We're going to remember the good times with Jesus Luzardo only. But yeah, those two starts changed the entire perception of Jesus Luzardo's season. That's it. I've said this about Will Warren all year because he's had 2 bad starts against the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And he's been awesome every other start. But perception, you see the numbers and you're like, oh, he's just an okay pitcher. Not so fast, my friend. So, Anthony, we like Luzardo tonight. So does the field. He's the most popular pitcher on the board. Poe Degen talking about Brad Savior Lord. Brad Lord. Poe Degen is just going crazy as always. No charges being filed on Judkins. Yeah, good for him, I guess, that no files were charged. I don't care. All right. Let's get a core built and we'll get out of here, Keith. 5:48. We got less than an hour before lineup block. I already got my lineups built today. I don't know about you. I'm all built. Unless something happens, I'm good. I'm not changing nothing. I say that I'll probably tinker for the next hour, but I'm not changing anything. All right, what do we got? What are we thinking? 2 Scooble or not 2 Scooble in a core play build?
So I think we fade one of Scooble or Luzardo just because they're getting so much ownership, and Edward Cabrera is the guy that's going in. I think there's no doubt that those 3 pitchers are far, far and away better than anything else on the slate. Like they're in a tier, and then there's another tier gap, and then a tier before we get to our next options on the slate. Those 3 are so far ahead of the slate.
Yeah, the ownership hasn't changed, by the way. It's still the same. Who is this Scooble guy? Tarek Scooble is the Michael Jordan of Tarek Scoobles. Or the Tarek Scooble of Michael Jordans.
I don't
know how you would
the Michael Jordan of
he's like
starting pitchers. I think that
he's like it's like the new thing. It's like you describe because Michael Jordan's in this tier, right? So like you're saying he's like the Michael Jordan of he's the Michael Jordan of Garrett Crochet's.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We don't have to. For another show. Okay, we'll do this another show.
I'm sort of picking up what you're putting down, but
basically what you said was correct, but it's not as cool, right? Like it's like the cool way to say it is like, oh, he's the Dwayne Wade of Allen Iverson's.
All right, I'm with you.
He's the Aaron Judge of Barry Bonds's. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're moving on. Poe Degen, it's all Poe Degen's fault. That's all I got. And also, because I'm yelling already, hit the like button. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. And come back. We'll be here tomorrow morning with a pre-show. And we'll be here at 5 p.m. tomorrow for the live show again.
So let's plug a couple bats and see where we're at with the salary before we decide on Luzardo or Scooble. Because we're going
Ezekiel Tovar.
I like that. Yep. We're going Marte. I think we both love him as our top bat on the slate.
Yes, Marte. Agreed. Doyle, cheap outfielder.
Yep. I like Rockies a ton.
5th. Yeah, like Rockies. Okay. $4,600. Locklear, probably the most obvious first baseman of the day, right? Get as much of that game as you possibly can.
And I think at catcher we can go Del Castillo or Goodman, either way.
Okay. My guess, if we go Goodman, we are not getting to Skubal. That would be my guess.
So then let's pair his battery mate with him if we're doing that, and go Dingler. I think was our favorite cheap option, or Liam Hicks if we need even more.
Okay, so if we went Dingler, we have 2,800 for a third base outfield. If we went down to Hicks, that would give us 31. There's an obvious third baseman that we would go to here. His dad played in Major League Baseball, and there are some interesting outfield options here as well. But you would have to get very creative. And this is where the Troy Johnston ownership is coming in, by the way, because people are just like, screw it, he's 2K. It can't be any worse than.
So this is kind of like, would you rather go Luzardo in one of those awesome 3K, like upper 3K outfielders, or do you want to go down to Troy Johnston and play Tariq Skubal? I think that's the toughest decision on this slate, in my opinion.
Yes, I immediately upon Marte, I knew that Skubal wasn't going to happen, because I've tried to do it today and like still not play a Troy Johnston, right? Like I don't want to play a Troy Johnston or of someone of like that caliber.
Graham Pauley at third would maybe be my choice. We wouldn't get Karros then, which is we'd have to come off a Coors bat there, but it's a way to make it work if you are trying to get away from some ownership with your punt.
Okay, so we'll offer that look up, and we'll just offer this look as well, and that's the difference between your two builds, right? Like
if we put Carroll in there, what are we working with there? Is that even possible? Because I mean that.
Yes, it is. Well, we're gonna not tease the Carroll. We're gonna leave the people with this right here. You guys saw it. If you guys are watching, you saw it. We'll put the rest of the lineup in the Discord after this. But this is obviously way easier to build. You obviously do, very obviously, elephant in the room. Tariq Skubal goes for 50, you're cooked. On a small slate, he's going to be 40%. He's going to be like 50% in single entry.
Edward Cabrera did go for 40 his last time out.
He did. And Luzardo's had put up big crooked numbers this year too. So
I love the upside of those two guys. That's the only reason I'm even considering a Skubal fade. He's still the best pitcher in baseball.
And for what it's worth, the people that are playing Tariq Skubal are, I would say a lot of them are not using either of these pitchers. They're probably going to go to Bibee, because Bibee's the third highest rostered pitcher of the day. So my expectation is, we know Edward Cabrera of the top is going to be the lowest owned good pitchers. Skubal and Luzardo are going to drive all the ownership. It just depends on where you guys fall. Do you want to play Tariq Skubal and the upside that he presents? Do you want to hope that he's just a normal human being and not an alien today, and you play these mid-tier and spend up on the bats because we have cores, right? It's all dependent, but we'll leave you here. And then, surprise will be in the Discord, whether we use the Skubal build or the Luzardo build. So big shout out to you guys. Again, we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for all the joining. Big shout out to Keith for coming through once again. Got less than an hour till lock. Good luck, everybody. We'll